Awesome. Toa, do we have Facebook Live yet? You're on mute.
We're live on YouTube.
YouTube, okay. What's the weather like in Nigeria right now in Lagos?
It is hot, actually. It's supposed to be a bit cool, so I don't know, it's hot.
I think we've just had is it a cyclone?
All right.
And it's wow. Very cool. It's raining a lot. It's
I could do with cool, not rain, but cool.
Yeah. Welcome, Adi. I see you there. Welcome, Balisa. Thank you so much for joining us. We're looking forward to an awesome conversation. We are just waiting for everybody to join. We will get going soon. I hope you will enjoy the session. Please feel free to comment, to ask questions. Our intention is to answer as much as we possibly can. And
engage.
Absolutely. We have a panel of powerhouse African ladies who have done this and are winning. So they're going to help us navigate to this journey ourselves. So thank you so much. I appreciate your time. Hi, Josephine. Welcome.
Hi, Josephine.
Put in the chat. Hello, Adelaide. Can you?
Yes.
Maybe if you can take us through maybe the housekeeping while we're waiting.
Sure, absolutely. And I'm happy to repeat most of it if we need to as people join. So Let's Connect is a webinar series that happens on the first Wednesday of every month. And the intention is to connect all of us throughout the continent, to have conversations about the professional career, the journeys we've traveled, the interesting things we've come across, but also some nuggets. I think not all our lessons have to be hard. And the important part of this conversation is you have a panel of ladies who've walked this journey and they're here to provide guidance. But also we want to learn from you. A lot of you would have traveled this journey on your own. And so we're intending to share our stories across the board. Our powerhouse ladies are in South Africa. They are also in Nigeria. And our intention is to, across the continent, start a movement that grows our careers above everything else. Okay, then it runs from 6 o'clock until 5 minutes to 7 South African time. In Nigeria, as you know, we're an hour behind. So in Nigeria, it runs from 5 o'clock until 5 to 6. Hi, Leah, welcome. Hey, Tony, we see you, welcome. We then have social media pages. We have LinkedIn, we have Facebook, we have Instagram, and we have YouTube. We are actually recording live on YouTube. So if you miss any of what we go through today, please feel free to go to our YouTube channel, subscribe. We look forward to having you. And we are going to ensure that all our videos are uploaded. I think they're automatically uploaded, Toa. So you should be able to revisit them as many times as you need to. Then you can post your questions in the Q&A section so that we are ensuring that we are addressing all of your questions. But if you have comments, we also welcome those. Put them in the general chat. You will see that a few people already said hello. Hey, Nana. So please feel free to comment to either the panelists or to everyone. I think the richness of the conversation is in everyone commenting and sharing experiences. We'll log on to Mentimeter just now as a tool for us to start getting a sense of where you are in relation to the topic so that we are having a fit for purpose conversation with you. and structured in a way that will help you and answer the questions you're interested in asking. We also have any other suggestions that you might have, please send them through to info@letskonnect.co.za. Our aim is to, wherever we're not answering questions, create a Q&A or frequently asked questions, document and share that with you through info@letskonnect. We are going to now shout out to our sponsors. Our first sponsor is BI Tech Africa. They are hosting the platform, so this webinar series is on their platform. We are very grateful for that, and we look forward to doing many more things using this platform. And I also would like to thank Ladybug Consulting for sponsoring our domain. We're very excited at the opportunity to be able to engage with you. Cool. It is a webinar, so we don't necessarily have an opportunity to speak directly to you. However, we would love for you to comment and type questions as they arise. Yes, Toa.
No, that was a mistake.
Toa raised a hand. You're welcome to raise your hand too, by the way, if you'd like to. We would love to chat with you. Hey, Clara, welcome back. Lovely to see you. Muzi, hi. I hope you're well. Welcome. Lulu, hello. Thank you so much for joining. Awesome. Okay. So we're just going to wait a few more minutes to see if there are more people joining, and then we can go ahead and introduce you to our amazing panel today. There are ladies who have done really interesting things, a very diverse group of experiences. They come from all over the continent, but also have global exposure. And so they can bring that thinking and that worldview to this conversation. But we also have ladies who've been playing the game in their own way, and we're going to ask them, what does the game mean to them? Because it means different things to all of us. The intention is not to create a standard, but rather to have conversations that mean something. Cool. Toa, you let us know when you're ready.
Sure. I just want to let everyone know that if you can please go to the menti.com website, we'll be running a poll, a word poll, and I've put the code in the chat. If you could please just vote. The question that we're answering today is linked to our topic, and that is, what comes to mind when you hear the phrase corporate politics? So a lot of people, when we embark on a journey of trying to advance in our career, one strategy is how to play the game. Some people look at it as corporate politics, but a lot of people have got a myth that corporate politics is, backstabbing and ethical. So if you could kindly just go to menti.com and put in the code and vote. And vote for what comes to mind when you hear the phrase corporate politics. And then the panelists and I will unpack the answers that come out. I see some answers are coming up. I'll just share so that we can all see. Yes, there's a chat.
Unethical. Ooh, okay. Backstabbing games. It's an interesting one, games, if you look at the topic today. Okay, ladies, can I ask that while people are voting, we introduce ourselves. Toa, would you like to maybe start us off with an intro of yourself?
We can start off with Shola. Shola, if you could please kindly introduce yourself.
So hi everyone, welcome to another session of Let's Connect. My name is Shola Bumi. My bio is on there. So right now I work in the utility space. Before that, I worked in aviation. I like to think of it as my career. Most of my career has been in highly regulated, male-dominated industries, and I've worked my way up through that. I think I see myself as a resourceful person. An entrepreneur. So while I'm actually in corporate paid employment, I think that I see myself as an entrepreneur, a go-getter and doing things. I'm passionate about policy development and infrastructural development. And yes, that's it about me. And I'm based in Lagos, Nigeria.
Hi, everyone. So you're going to see my profile next. I am Kanyi. What I'm excited about is helping individuals and their teams realize their dreams. And I do that twofold. One, through the running of a construction and renovations business called Ladybug. That was established. It's 5 years old, guys. You know, we've made it to the first milestone. We now look forward to year 10. Hopefully with a lot of love, care, and help, we will get there. And what I did when I started the business was look at opportunities to do construction differently. Those of you who've renovated or built will know how tricky it is to do that. And the intention was to do it ethically in a way that we care about your property, but at the same time, at a price point that makes sense. So it's a balancing act every day. That's what I do on a 9 to 5. And we love to do record installations. We get it right most of the time. Yarns on construction. It's an art more than a science. I also run a recruitment and coaching agency, which is now transforming into a pure coaching business. I see a comment from Balisa. I don't know, Toa, if we're onto it. I think we closed the poll. In the recruitment and coaching agency, the intention is to bring the wealth of experience that I've had across the board, but also through the theories and the models that I've also been working with, actually going through a GIBS qualification to become an ICF accredited coach. But the intention is to ensure that I am helping people become the best version of themselves to travel their journey their way. And you can see all that other stuff about my experience at various companies that are leading in their fields. Thanks.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks so much for joining the Let's Connect webinar series. My name is Toela Mukosa, and I'm an entrepreneur. I also like to call myself a digital evangelist. I'm the co-founder and CEO of a company based in Johannesburg, South Africa called Biotechnologies Africa. I have been implementing digital solutions around Africa and in Europe, and I'm currently helping organizations with their digital transformation journeys. I'm very passionate about social outreach work, as well as mentoring women in STEM who are trying to get into the technology space. And I also like to consider myself as a digital coach, which I try to do through the Let's Connect webinar series. Over to you, Jumoke, who is our guest panelist today.
Hello, everyone. Glad to be joining as a guest on today's discussion. My name is Jumoke Fajemirokun. I'm a lawyer and a partner at a law firm based in Lagos, Nigeria, called Advisory Legal Consultants. It's a boutique firm where we specialize in the energy and infrastructure sectors. So we support clients operating in those sectors with issues legal aspects of project development, regulatory compliance, transactions like M&As, acquisitions, etc., and just providing them with solid legal support. And one of the things I'm passionate about is infrastructure development and the policies that underpin that, and developing such policies. And so that's something that keeps me going, keeps me excited, and always exciting to see opportunities in that regard. I'm currently at this law firm in Lagos, Nigeria. I've also had a stint at the World Bank in DC, where I was supporting the World Bank Sanctions Board on integrity compliance issues relating to infrastructure projects financed by the bank worldwide. And yeah, so looking forward to engaging in this very interesting topic. So far, most of my career has been in small to mid-sized organizations. I've also had stints in the larger organizations and also working as a consultant, an embedded consultant within government. So I've seen different dynamics play in different institutions. So I'm happy to discuss and get other perspectives.
Sure, thank you so much. That is really, really powerful bios. So ladies, if you want to even make connects on LinkedIn, please do. These are good people to know, I think, in general, but also in particular to this topic. They've had quite a varied background, and it's really exciting that we can talk to them today. Okay, so is the poll still open?
I will open it up a little later, maybe if we can get into the conversation, and then I'll open it up as we start the conversation.
Awesome. So I'm going to ask each one of you individually, what does playing the game mean to you? And before I do that, I'm going to talk for myself what the game is. I had an amazing mentor when I started working in a big corporate, my first time there. And he said to me, Kanye, the thing is, no amount of hard work is going to get you far. You need to learn the rules. So you need to observe people. You need to know what works, what doesn't. Talk about it if you need to with people you trust. But you need to learn to play the game. It's like Monopoly, right? What are the rules? Learn the rules. Get the resources that are required and then play. But if you want to win, you need to play hard. Now, that doesn't translate into corporate politics. What it does translate to is you being aware of your environment, what it takes to win in your environment, and how to get to that place of winning, if indeed winning is what you are seeking from a career. And then I will now hand over to Shola to understand what she thinks or what it means to her to play the game.
Okay, thanks, Kanye. So unlike Kanye, I didn't have a mentor. I didn't have anyone tell me what it was. But from my personal experience, I'll say that I navigated through it by myself. I figured my way out around it. For me, playing the game is staying true to my values while also being able to recognize the stakeholders and also be able to find visibility for myself. So basically, playing the game for me is being able to achieve what I want to achieve. So I think that to start is identifying what you want. So do you want to rise in this field? Are you content being, so basically identify what you want out of your career early. Once you identify that, know the culture. And so for me, going through the process, I didn't think about it as a game, but now in retrospect, it was actually, if you think about it, it was actually playing the game. So understanding the culture and just knowing, making sure that I fit into the culture in a way that I'm not sort of, but I understand out that people don't want to engage with me. Understanding the culture and also particularly being not fit into a stereotype. So as women. Also as women, it's easy to feed into a stereotype and where you're expected to gossip and spread rumors and stuff like that. So I think for me, playing the game is staying true to myself, being professional, and being able to recognize who the stakeholders and who the people that will support me, who will speak for me. And so finding sponsors and just knowing what I'm doing, be consistent. Consistency. I think that consistency will always take you far. So there are a couple of things. I think that if I think through my career, there are loads of things that at different stages that I'll have to pick on, but I don't know that we want to dig into all of that at this point. But basically, that's in a nutshell. I'll keep it at that.
Thank you, Shala. I think the key takeaways there are around achieving, but in line with your values, not feeding into stereotypes, finding sponsors, also being consistent. I love that. Thank you. And over to you, Tawala. What does it mean to play the game for you?
So for me, playing the game, I think I'll narrow it down to one thing, which is visibility. So for me, playing the game would be, how do I make myself visible to advance in my career? What does visibility mean? So to me, what visibility means is, do the right stakeholders in my organization know about me and the work that I'm doing? Not only in my organization, but also outside. Do external people know about me and the work that I'm doing? And what does that visibility mean? Am I that girl who puts my hand up every time there is those high-paced projects that you're having in companies? In fact, not even high-paced, high visibility projects or assignments. Typically, we shy away from them and we always think someone else should do it. But to be visible means I'm putting my hand up and saying, I'm going for that. And that's one way that you could advance in your career. I don't look at it as corporate politics. I look at it as a game, but I'm playing the game to be visible so that I can advance my career. So that people know me, like me, I network, I get to talk to the right people. By right people, I mean the right leaders in the organization, the people who get things done. Am I talking to them? Do I have a relationship with them? So for me, that's what playing the game means.
Makes a lot of sense. So one, find the platform where you can be seen. Two, make sure you've networked yourself into those conversations, into those offices, into those boardrooms, so that you remain relevant. Three, build a rapport, because it won't be good enough to just have been seen to be doing something. There needs to be confidence and trust placed in you. So there's work to be done as well. Thanks so much, Toa. Jumoke, what are your thoughts on the game? What does it look like for you?
So for me, playing the game is recognizing what it takes to advance in my career, and recognizing the steps that I need to take and actively following through on those steps. And for me, I think the key, is basically building on professional competence, bringing your A game on all the time, recognizing the skills that you have and those that are still lacking, what you need to enhance, those you need to strengthen, being basically ensuring that you're delivering on quality work so that at every given time, your work is able to speak for you, even when you're not there. But aside from that, there's also the place where you need to recognize that there's an environment in which you work, and there are people in that environment from diverse backgrounds. They have different needs. They're competing for scarce resources. Not everybody will get the promotion. Not everybody will get the kind of salary raise they want. So you find politics coming into the fore. So playing the game for me is being technically competent, so that always speaks for you, but also being aware of the dynamics around your corporate environment, not being oblivious to, because you can have your head in the sand and do your work, and other people are making decisions that influence you, and you don't have a say in those decisions. So very important to be very aware of the dynamics, the unwritten rules, the norms, the culture. And I think if I look back, what I think has always worked for me, or what comes naturally to me, is ensuring that relationships are built along the way. So recognizing the key stakeholders, even the non-key stakeholders, and just building relationships, being empathic, bringing out the best in people, being positive, staying neutral, not being in any camps, and just just trying to practice a high degree of emotional intelligence, and knowing how to react to people when they go through their different emotions, and also catching a grip of your emotions as well, because if you do things when your emotions are raw, it may not work too well for you. So it's for me, I think it's centered on relationships and managing people.
Oh man, you've touched on so many things, and I think it ties up so nicely with what the other ladies have said, but also previous conversations that we've been having on this web series. So I'm going to go through the ones that I managed to capture. One, recognizing the steps that are going to be required of you to win. So it's not a guessing game. You need to be aware of your environment and what it takes for that environment to win. And sometimes it's things that, in as much as you think may not be appropriate, as long as it's in line with your values, because if it's not in line with your values, you shouldn't be there. As long as it's in line with your values, it's the things you're going to need to do to succeed. Bring your A game, always. Competence is never going to be underlooked or overlooked. It is important to know what you're doing and what you're about. 3, deliver quality work. Yes, absolutely echoed by the ladies. You have to make sure that you are adding value to the organization for the organization to value and reward you. 4, recognize that people aren't all the same. Different things make us all tick differently. So take the time, observe, grow people, but also look for opportunities that grow you. The unwritten rules, oh, that's a big one. Hey, I've seen this happen so many times, and careers are ruined by one bad conversation or one bad or one wrong move at the right time, and there goes your career. So the unwritten rules, no one speaks about them, but you can see them. And I think it's important to start engaging on those kinds of conversations. So find people you trust and talk to them about it. Know your stakeholders. I'm a big believer in stakeholder management. I need to know who's influential. So I use a 4x4, a 2x2, sorry, not a 4x4. One says, one axis is who's influential, right? And the other axis says who's got a vested interest in what you're trying to achieve. Now, if you think about it, where someone's influential and has a vested interest in what it is you're trying to do, you keep those people close, always. So you need to do that sort of analysis at all times for yourself. And then you can obviously decide, if you're not that influential, but you have a vested interest, maybe keep you informed. And if you have no vested interest or no influence on what it is you're trying to achieve, bear them in mind, but don't waste too much time on those sorts of interactions, I say. So focus your efforts. And I know some people may think this is controversial, but I think manage your energy and maximize where you should be applying effort. So bear that in mind in terms of managing your stakeholders. And your emotions, my goodness, that is a whole nother kettle of fish. Emotions in the workplace. We discussed that in our last conversation. And what came through quite strongly is it has to be something you are aware of and mindful of and using it effectively to advance you in your career. It can't be emotional and taking things personally and hoping to advance. So always be mindful of that. Okay, ladies, we have some comments there on the Mentimeter. People are talking about what comes to mind when they hear the phrase corporate politics. I see a lot of negative words, and I assume it's because people associate and affiliate politics with negativity, toxic, lonely, backstabbing,
Man's world, though.
Man's
That's
world.
interesting.
That
Yeah.
is interesting. What do you think, Sola? What are your thoughts about man's world?
I think that we as women, we think we go into it with our head in the sand thinking it's just men that play the game. But of recent, I also now play the game, or because men, it's easy for them. But now, like, I think it's getting better. But in the past, I think it was easy for men to connect quickly, to do all of those things that helps them, bond with whoever the network, whoever that stakeholder was. So I think politics, we've always just thought that it was a men's game, that it was men that played politics and we weren't. But in hindsight, I hope we're able to go away from this conversation noting that for you to advance, it's a game and we all have to play. So whatever the terminology is for it, it's understanding that it's for your career, it's whatever you want to achieve, you need to put that in. But yeah, it's not a man's game. It's everyone needs to get in there. But men in better, I agree to. But yes, they know how to manage stakeholders. They're going for drinks. You meet someone right now and they've cornered the person and they're having conversations and doing guy things. But yeah, I agree.
Okay, thank you, Shola. We've got a comment from Palisa. She says, sometimes the culture of the organization is such that playing the game is the only way to succeed and get support. It gets very tricky when the kind of behavior that is praised and encouraged is completely against your personal values and the limits to which you will go to advance. It's truly exhausting and can be draining. Toela, what are your thoughts on that? There's so much of that echoes for me.
I think, Alisa, if you don't play the game will play you. So I think there's a myth that playing the game is unethical and there's backstabbing and, it's associated to a lot of negativity. But the thing is, if you know how to play the game, and by playing the game, just to reiterate what all the other ladies and I have been saying, is building those relationships and those networks, talking to the right people, lobbying with people to hear your ideas, being technically competent in what it is that you do, and owning your space. So for me, I would say, try not to look at it as being draining. Try and embrace it and try and use it to your advantage, because you've got the power to actually turn your situation around and actually start playing the game in a very clean manner. It doesn't have to be unethical. It doesn't have to be backstabbing. It's for me, it's being visible, showing your work, being good at what it is that you do, produce good work, good quality, but then tell people about it. Put your hand up whenever these projects come out. Speak to the CEO, send him not letters, but articles on a problem that maybe the organization is currently facing, so that you are seen as a thought leader. So I know sometimes to some people it looks like you are sucking up, or you're trying to be the teacher's pet. But truth be told, if you want to advance in a corporate space, even in entrepreneurship, we also have to play the game by being visible, attending strategic conferences, talking to strategic people. It's the only way that you can really advance in your career is by playing a game, being intentional, being deliberate, and having an end goal.
Jumoke, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on, when someone is literally going against your values? and there's a game being played, how do you respond?
Okay, I wanted to start by just mentioning that I really like the analogy that Tuela gave about if, as an entrepreneur, you will play the game aggressively because you're trying to get your business visibility. In the same vein, you need to also get yourself visible within the corporate space. So that's an interesting analogy. I never quite thought about it that way because I'm one to not
Oh, is technology failing us? Okay, no worries.
I don't want
Oh,
to
she's
say
back.
too much. Oh,
Oh,
okay.
you're back. We lost you
Okay.
there. Do you
Am I
mind
back?
recapping? Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay, so I was saying that I like the analogy that Tuela gave about when you're an entrepreneur, you have to aggressively make yourself visible to the stakeholders that you want your business to be visible to. In the same vein, within your organization, you need to aggressively pursue your interest, but that has to be done in an ethical way. So when you're dealing with in an environment where
Always when we get to the juicy bit. Okay, we'll come back to Jumoke.
you have to face the okay.
Sorry about that. The next
Let me change.
Okay, awesome. Clara's got an interesting comment, and then we'll get to what Dan is saying to us. Clara says, I think if one is lucky enough to find a trusted mentor coach in the business who generally follows the same values as you, it makes it easier to navigate. And I think that's very important. Thank you, Clara, for sharing that. It is always going to be in your best interest to find people in the organization who will guide and navigate and sponsor your journey. I completely agree with that. I think everybody echoes that sentiment, and they have from the onset. Dan says to us, he's played the game. He's done some backstabbing in his past. And here he gives us an example. He says, if he knows a poor performer and thought that they could talk their way through work, he would go about exposing them. Literally put a business case to make sure that the company does not carry dead wood. Wow. Thoughts, Shola?
That's that's interesting. I think, well, I used to be from the school. Well, like, I don't know if I used to be. I'm from the school of thought that milk always rises to the top. I always used to say in my analyst days that you can't be BS your way through this thing. You will be sussed out at some point. So I don't. It's also that balance of, do you have the patience of watching someone, I don't know, go through, keep moving, and then you're waiting, and when does it happen? So that there's a bit of also knowing who your foes are, who your friends are. So where you know the foes in a way that you know that this person isn't carrying the weight and taking credit for work, you have to speak up. Literally, I think I am not a confrontational person in general, but in the workplace, I find that I'm able to find my voice at things around things like this. It just doesn't work. So while I think that cream will always find its way to the top, you also need to make sure you shake that bottle so that the cream moves to the top. So that's to Don's point. Well, there's something in general. I don't know, made that comment. Maybe it was Clara, around not comfortable around the culture of the company. It's something I've thought about when we're having this conversation. When do you make the decision that this company is not for me? I think that is something we also have to check. I've been in a place where it just wasn't going to work. Everything had to be, you literally had to cut off someone's head to get seen. So I think that was also why I use values in when I describe winning the game for me. Is, does this place get me to where I need to get to? If it does, what are those things I can compromise on? So also, I think it's important for us to speak to, if it doesn't work for you, how do you move on from there?
I can't agree with you more. The coach in me will always say to you, when is the time? You will know when it's time. This is not working, and creates a plan to get you to the right place. Jumoke, what are your thoughts? on if the environment is not in alignment with who you are.
Yeah, I was just to echo what Shola Bumi has said. Basically, playing, yes, you have to play the game, but at the same time, you can't play the game in a way that it doesn't align with your values and compromises your work ethic. So there is that time when you'll just have to look at the environment and recognize that it's not for you. It's not making you a better person. It's not helping me to sleep at night. Because at the end of the day, you want to succeed and you want to be happy succeeding. And happiness is the key goal in all of this. You're not just being successful in your career just because you just want to be seen as the most successful one in the world. You want to be successful and happy. So if it doesn't let you sleep well at night, if there's situations where, I mean, you can't change yourself to what you do not want yourself to be, and you cannot change the environment around you, I bet you can find other organizations that align more with your values and what you're more comfortable with.
Right.
So that goes back to the technical competence, because that gives you flexibility to make decisions and move.
Makes sense. Someone on the word cloud said secret rules. Let's talk about the rules, the unspoken rules.
Yeah.
How do you go about finding out if no one's talking about it? How do you know what's okay and what's not okay? Toela, what are your thoughts?
You see, you need to get into the in crowd. There is an in crowd at every organization that you work in. If you think there isn't, now you know. So the in crowd know. Like I'll give you an example. The smoke breaks, you know. For those of you who don't smoke, a lot gets said during the smoke breaks. A lot gets said at drinks after work. And how do you know what's happening in the organization? It's during these times. And that's why in the beginning, when I talked about networking and identifying, so literally you need to look at the organization as a landscape, and then you need to suss it out and say, okay, who's who in the zoo? Who do I need to know? Who do I not need to know? I know it sounds bad, but really, guys, that's why it's called playing the game. You need to be strategic. I need to be friends with the CEO. Ask them to be your mentor. My MD was my mentor, and my manager didn't like it when I was in corporate. And she would, in fact, she's the one who even said, Toella, you don't even need to start a business. You can be given a business. Look at me. I was given a business and now I'm an MD. So to me, it's be visible, be deliberate, identify the right people, know the key stakeholders, then you will get into the in crowd. And once you're in the in crowd, then you know what's happening in the organization. If there are retrenchments, trust me, if you were that person who was supposed to be let go, but you somehow know the information because you're in the in crowd, you won't get retrenched. I know it does sound a bit um, unethical. It's not unethical. It's just being. It's just knowing
Navigating. You need a
who
GPS.
to talk to, who to be friends with, who to send the birthday card to, who to show your work. You know, the other thing is, are you a problem solver? Are you the person that the organization looks at and says, let's give that work to Tawela because she's always willing to solve that problem. She solves my problem. I can give more in her portfolio because, you know, she just takes on all the work. Are you that person? Are you the first person they think of when these high visibility projects come around? And you need to start thinking like that. Like, it's not only about playing the game. You need to be a good leader. You need to be good at what you do.
Jumoke, do men and women play the game differently? Do you think the pressure is applied equally?
No, I don't think they play. I think they play the game differently. I think men are at an advantage is they can. There's certain things that they can do that do not seem. I don't know what word to use. basically in the context that we're in the society that we're in the African context, I believe men can get away with some things that women cannot get away with. And so it's easier for them to play the game. And also, as a woman, you also do not want to play the game in a way that you're taking advantage of the fact that you're a woman. So there's always that aspect that you're being conscious of that part, and maybe being overly conscious. I don't know, but it's could sometimes inhibit the way the actions that you take and your ability to build relationships within the organization as well.
Yeah. Yeah, there's lots of comments around the in crowd, guys. It is a thing. You need to navigate your way towards the in crowd, as everyone's alluding to. Find it, whatever you need to do to find it, and see how you navigate. We'll get to the Q&A in a minute. There's a comment from Muzi. He says there'll always be information asymmetry. It's just making sure that you're on the right side of that asymmetry. There you go. Thoughts, Shola?
I think that still links to in crowd conversation. So that information asymmetry, you all need to know the people, the right people. So being observant, let's start with number one. Back to what Toa was speaking to, you have to be observant. Observant helps you know those unspoken rules. And those unspoken rules also, the people that know and play those, live by those unspoken rules are the ones that actually have all of this information in my speak. I think a good example I always refer to around unspoken rules was my early days in investment banking, where you're packing your bag at 5 and you think everyone is going, but you see like 2 people sitting back and they're still at work. And eventually, like every time I then started staying back because I realized, okay, maybe stay back till my boss goes. And it then became a thing of because he worked in the US investment banking, where you expected you don't own your weekends, literally. They own your weekends. They let you go when you can. And once I understood that that was the culture he came from, and a couple of them came from, I then was spending all of my time at work, doing work, and I was learning and I was getting all this information. So it's an unspoken rule, but I was staying at work longer. I was at work on weekends. The guys were doing it. I was probably the only lady. Even when I would go for a party, I would go back to still rush back to work on a weekend just to make sure that I don't miss that. So it's understanding the unspoken rules that helps you with that information asymmetry. Nothing goes by people who are having doing work out of work hours. Yes. So I think that's I'll put that.
I love that. Always stay on the right side of that asymmetrical information matrix. Okay, we'll get to the Q&A now. There's a question from Clara. Are you ladies always open and honest when you are doing your exit interviews, when you leave an organization, especially in work environments where the politics or the negative politics in the environment literally drive you to leave the organization? Does it help you feel as though you have done something which will positively affect the colleagues which you are leaving behind? My goodness. Jumoke, thoughts on exit interviews? Are you honest? Especially if the environment is not so positive or pleasant?
Well, I haven't had to comment on those kind of environments, but I would say if faced with that scenario, it will depend on the context, really. Depends on how much I care about the evil people I'm leaving behind, and whether I'd like to.
That's honest.
So it does depend on the context, really. If it's a situation where you feel that your contribution will make a difference, yes, by all means, yes. Be honest about the environment and what you believe could change, and put in your nuggets. So yes, I will definitely advocate for that. But in terms of a personal experience, I don't have any to give at this point. But that's the approach I will take. And yeah, but context also matters.
Shola, what are your thoughts? Do you give honest feedback?
Oh yeah, like go ham, like for the people that you're leaving behind, just drop it all there. And while at it, it was also where I've had to do that was also calling people out. So those toxic people that just generally made the whole place, in that the environment toxic. In a situation where I've had a contentious exit interview, I think it was actually a long conversation that we even had to go on after. But my rule when I leave a place is never burn bridges. So while I'm giving whatever feedback that whatever I do, I'm making it in a way that I'm helping you. But you have to lay everything out there because for their sake as well, they need to grow. You're leaving people behind in this toxic environment. But I make sure that I'm able to do it in a way that I can continue to have relationships with whoever it is or whoever those stakeholders are. So while I'm calling out people and listing what the issues around the culture is, I'm also making sure that I'm not burning bridges and I'm able to have relationship, network, grow it every time.
I love that. The not burning bridges, I think, is critical when you're going to give honest feedback. There's a comment around, and I'll give this to Toa. There's a comment around in the new world of work, in COVID times, you don't always get to meet the team that you can build rapport with and have unofficial chats with and, get to know the in crowd. How does it look like to navigate the world in a digital era?
I actually think that now is even more important. It's more important now to actually even play that corporate politics game because you don't have that physical relationship going. At least in the office, you can pass by someone's office or desk, chat during the smoke break. But right now, most of our meetings are virtual, or it's calls or it's emails. So for now, I would say you would still need to be visible. You could use initiatives like I said, if there is a problem that your organization is going through and you think that you've got a solution to that, share it with an email, an attachment, something, an article, a LinkedIn share, do something like that, send an email, call them, set up Zoom meetings. I know now it may seem a bit impersonal to be sending a specific person a Zoom meeting, call them, send them an email. I do think even now it's more important for us to, I guess, be playing the game and for us to be seen because it's now virtual and the way we're working it's not the same.
I love that. So what I'm going to ask each one of you to do is, in a nutshell, tell us, what does winning look like? And how do you go about winning? And I would love for you to share it in the frame that start doing this, stop doing this, continue doing this. Maybe if I can start with you, Shola. What does winning look like? Start, stop, continue.
All right. Keep it short. So start doing is seize opportunities. So anywhere you find, like, back to the towards question, or how she answered that question. While in lockdown, I had like interns, people say, come sending emails. Oh, I saw this on the website. Maybe we should add. Just people finding ways to add value. So they're seizing opportunities, and I appreciated that. So that was great. Continue to do. Stay professional. I don't know that I can underestimate what value that adds. If you're known as that professional person where there's something, whatever that issue is, people will know to that you won't have been involved in things like that. And also self-evaluation, self-awareness, continue doing self-evaluation, very important. And stop doing. I spoke about this before. Don't play to stereotypes. Keep away from things that, oh, that's women, that's how they are, things like that. And yeah, just avoid things that create that bias that's already there. Focus on your focus. As we say, focus on your focus, and keep to what the goals that you set for yourself. So start, yeah.
Thanks, Shola. Tawela, what are your thoughts on winning?
So I'll use the framework that you like to ask us about: start, stop, and continue. So I would say everyone that has joined the webinar series today, I think you should start volunteering, start putting your hand up so that you are seen. So change your mindset and just tell yourself that you need to start to be visible. Put your hand up, volunteer. I need you guys to stop hiding in your corners, stop feeling sorry for yourself, and to stop downplaying your skills and abilities. Because once you start owning that space and realizing that you've got the power, you've got the knowledge, you're good at what you do, you need to start owning it and letting people around you, internally in your organizations, externally, know about this wonderful person that you are. So I would like you to stop hiding in your corner and stop downplaying your skills and your abilities. And then just continue learning. The fact that you joined the webinar, you came in today, you're inquisitive, you want to get nuggets, you want to get insights. So continue on that path. Continue on that path of learning and gaining knowledge. So that would be me.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Toa. And last but not least, Jumoke, what are your nuggets around winning? What should we start? What should we stop? What should we continue to do?
Okay, I think you should start being observant as to what goes on around you, and because definitely there are things going on, and it's easy for us to hide in our desk and just keep delivering on our task and not being aware of the other dynamics that play around. So basically, start being observant, look around, see what's going on, open your eyes to things. Stop. Like Toela said, stop downplaying yourself, because it's very important that you believe in what you're doing. You have confidence in yourself, because part of not being what's associating with the in crowd or wanting to network with the relevant people is because you probably do not think you have anything to offer. So you need to stop thinking you have nothing to offer and believe that there is something you have a value to add. People should be happy that you're on their side. And if you have that confidence, and you're able to network and build the relationships that matter, and continue being true to yourself, right? Don't do things that are not true to your value. So whatever it is that is true to you, continue on that path. If it does not align with your value, then you need to stop doing that. So yeah.
Lovely. Oh man, there's so many beautiful thoughts there. I'm going to summarize what I've heard. So start finding opportunities to showcase yourself. Be visible. Find the visible projects. Make sure you are standing out. And not all of us like standing out, but to win, you need to stand out. Be observant. Pay attention. Things that are said, things that aren't said are just as important. Also, building relationships that matter. Focus your energy on the things that are going to grow and advance your career, guys. It is a game. Play it. Stop playing into the stereotypes. If women are seen to be gossipers, you know what you shouldn't be doing. Also, stop doing things that create bias and, I guess, conflict and division amongst teams. People don't respond positively to that. And I suspect that may not advance your career. Stop hiding in a corner and downplaying your skills or thinking that you have nothing to offer. You actually are here because you have a lot to offer. You actually are here because you want to grow and advance. And guys, we all have our magic. Find your magic and then continue doing. Remain professional, always. Emotions are not for work. And if you're feeling emotional, find ways of managing that and harnessing it. Self-evaluation is critical. Without being aware of what makes you tick and what doesn't, it makes it difficult for you to thrive in an organization and maybe aligning to the values of the organization. And continue to learn. You are never going to stop. We all know that adage. Learning literally is something you do till the day you die. Thank you so much, ladies, for all of your thoughts. We are approaching 6 o'clock, and I wanted to say, one, we appreciate your time and your contribution, so many nuggets. We're going to compile them and share them through our domain, info@letskonnect.co.za. Secondly, I want to say we appreciate you guys joining. Please share the link, please share with others. This is how we build a movement and a groundswell across the continent of amazing professionals, amazing Black voices that are going to grow our continent. And lastly, I want to say thank you again to our sponsors for creating the opportunity for us to connect.
Thank you, Jumoke, for joining us as our guest panelist. We really appreciate you with us.
Thank you very much for having me.
Oh man, so many nuggets. Thank you. Okay, guys, it's the end. We'll see you in a month's time. Please don't forget, first Wednesday of every month. We look forward to it. Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Thanks, everyone.